Hello guys, welcome to your favorite YouTube channel. It's your boy Samuel again, and today we're going to talk about something that I think has been bothering a lot of students because I've actually had a lot of questions of people asking me. Okay, I've actually been studying for a year. I've actually been following some of your rules. I've actually been doing things that I know that I'm supposed to do, but of recent I've been noticing that I'm procrastinating, especially when I want to study. Now, this has actually been one of my problem I actually have, and today I'm going to share with you the tips and the way that I used to solve my procrastination. So I think this will also actually help you. So stay tuned, guys. Now, the first thing I always tell people is find the reason why you procrastinate. Now, I remember when I was actually studying. Now, one of the major reasons why I actually procrastinate is because I don't actually like that topic, or I don't actually like the subject as a whole. Now, I'll always tell people, because you notice that you don't actually procrastinate when you want to have fun with your friends, when you want to hang out, or whatever thing you want to do. Now, you don't actually procrastinate those stuff. But why do you procrastinate when you actually want to study or do whatever, you maybe go to the gym, or start saving, or whatever? You actually procrastinate for doing that. Now, find the reason why are you procrastinating. Now, once you find the reason why you're procrastinating, for me it was I didn't like the subject. Now, what I did is, when I noticed that okay, I don't actually like this topic, I take out a topic or a subject which I actually like, enjoy reading. Then after reading for about an hour and I feel motivated to study, then I can bring in that topic that, or that subject that I don't actually like, and continue reading, because by that time I feel like I'm gingered up, or I am motivated to keep reading. So by the time I bring you the subject, then I will continue reading that. So you need to find the reason why are you procrastinating. It's not only in studying, it might be in other things. Like I said, now you need to find the reason why you actually procrastinate. And once you find the reason, then try to deal with it in your own way. Like I said, I would always take some textbooks that I actually enjoy reading. After reading it for like an hour, then I can switch to the textbook which I don't actually like reading. Then I can continue. I want to give you guys a set a deadline. Now, this actually helped me when I was actually studying, because I noticed that there was some topic that I could actually cover up in a day, but because I had no deadline, I was taking longer time. Sometimes it might take 2 hours, sometimes it might take 2 days, sometimes it might take 3 days. But when I actually started setting deadline, I knew that I had to finish this topic under this period. I had to finish this topic under this period. Now, this will actually help me reduce the amount of procrastination, because if I want to procrastinate today, I know that I've made the budget of, or budgeted today for this topic. Tomorrow I have to read the next topic. Now I will know that okay, I have to finish this topic today, because tomorrow I'm going to a new topic. But when you don't have any deadline, so you could actually read that topic even 3 days, sometimes 4 days, because you will keep procrastinating, keep procrastinating, keep procrastinating. So you need to set deadline. Okay, today I have to cover this topic. Today I have to cover two topics. And trust me, once you set deadline, it will actually help you to cover those topics at that set given date that you have given yourself, that okay, this is the date I want to end this is the date I want to start, and this is the day I want to end. So by the time you set deadline, it will help you. Don't study just for an exam. Now, this is actually one of the biggest reason why a lot of people actually begin procrastinating. Now, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're always like, I've been studying for a year, and now I notice that I'm actually procrastinating. What is actually wrong? Now, if you actually look at it, they are actually studying for just an exam. You're not studying because you actually want to study, or you're not studying because you actually love to study. You're studying because you want to study for an exam. Now, once you give your brain that mindset that I actually want to study for an exam only, now by the time you're reaching that exam, your brain starts to procrastinate, because it feels like, what's the use of studying anymore? I've actually done the exam, so there's no need for studying. Especially those of you who actually study for, if you want to study and keep studying. If you want to study for exam, it's good. If you only just want to study for an exam, and you know that's just what you want to study for, then good and fine. You can actually quit watching the video. But if you feel like you still want to actually still study even after the exam, now you don't always have to give yourself that mindset that I actually want to study for an exam. No, give yourself that give yourself the mindset that I actually want to study because I want to study, because I want to enjoy studying. Now, once you give yourself that mindset that I actually want to study for just this exam. Now, after the exams, you will notice that your the level of motivation to study will actually decrease, and the level of procrastination will actually increase, because they are kind of like inversely proportional to each other. So you don't actually need to give yourself that mindset that I want to actually study for an exam. Give yourself the mindset that I want to study because I actually want to study. Because by the time you've actually studied for that thing what you want to study for, and that thing is over, your brain start giving you that mind that no need to study again, I'm done with this thing, I'm done with that stuff. So always give yourself that mindset that you're actually studying because you enjoy studying. don't actually stay with people who actually makes you procrastinate. Now, I remember when I was actually when I formed a study group with a friend of mine, and the guy is always watching movie, watching this, watching that, and one of my weakest points is movie. I can watch movie from morning to night. Now, anytime I get to his house, he's always like, oh, I just got a new movie. Why don't you just watch it? But let's just watch just one. And the guy is never buying. He's never having a movie where you just watch one and that one is interesting and the other is not interesting. All the collections are always interesting. I was like, okay, ah, Jackson act in this one. No, no, Jet Li act in this one. And I noticed that I was actually procrastinating. I would be like, we were supposed to study now. Let's just leave it. We can study tomorrow or we can study in the evening. And that evening we won't actually have time to actually study because maybe he might become busy and or I might become busy and end of the day we won't actually study for that day. So always trying to stay with people who actually make you to read. You can form a study group with people who actually enjoy doing what you also do, like people who actually read, who actually love reading. And once you stay with this kind of people, those calibers of people, and you notice that even though you want to procrastinate, by the time you see all of your friends studying and you are just the only one who is not actually studying, you will feel why don't I just study? Now this will actually reduce the level of procrastination. Another thing I always tell you is enjoy doing what you love doing. Sometimes when you procrastinate, it's just a way of the way your brain is actually telling you that guy, just stop this. I'm not actually enjoying it. Now sometimes yeah, it's actually good. Sometimes just relax, just hold on. Don't because I'm not always the person that always tell you you must study from Monday to Sunday. No, you could 3 times a week. It's okay to begin with, to start with. Especially those who are actually be starting, who are just learning to study. Now 3 times a week is okay. 4 times a week is okay. 2 times a week, say it's okay. Now you don't always have to push yourself to do what you don't what you love. Now with time you will enjoy doing that, but when you're starting, just try doing what you actually love. Now sometimes maybe the subjects that you don't like, try reading the subject that you love. The, Even though you have read it yesterday, read it today. Sorry, just read it today, read it tomorrow, read it next tomorrow. Trust me, just don't always push yourself doing what you don't actually love. Enjoy doing what you love, and trust me, by the time you're enjoying doing what you love, you also enjoy the process of doing that stuff. And once you're able to enjoy the process of doing that stuff, then you will always explore more, even and you will notice that you actually enjoy even better. Now, another thing is, I always tell people, I think this should actually be the first is just begin. Trust me, it you just need to start. Just need to start from somewhere. Just start reading now because I noticed that when I actually studying, I will always feel like I don't want to read today. But the truth is, I'll just give myself, okay, let me just read for just 15 minutes. Okay, I know I'm not studying, let me just read for 15 minutes. And my 15 minutes becomes an hour becomes 2 hours, and 2 hours becomes 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Now, if I had not actually even given myself that the mindset that, okay, I just want to study 15 minutes, I won't actually study for that 4 hours or 5 hours that I actually want to study. Now, just begin always there, just begin, just start from somewhere. Give yourself, okay, tell yourself, I want to study for just 30 minutes, even if it's okay, let me just try 15 minutes. Let me just try to study for 15 minutes. Trust me, by the time you put your mind that I want to study for that 15 minutes, you will actually study more than that 15 minutes, especially if you are enjoying what you're actually doing. Now, another thing that I think is actually weird, but it's really kind of weird, but I think it actually worked for me is be bored. Now, I actually saw this somewhere and I was like, okay, why don't I just try this out? Why don't I just see if this will actually work for me? And funny enough, it actually did. Now, what I'm gonna be bored, just get bored of doing, just don't do anything for that moment. Don't do anything. Just sit down in one spot and just sit down. Just don't do anything. Now, trust me, your brain will actually want to do something that moment because your brain doesn't actually like being idle. Your brain, okay, why don't you, once your brain looks at you that there's this guy, there's nothing he's actually doing, especially if your phone is switched off or something like that, there's nothing that he can actually do. Why don't I just let's just study. That's what your brain will just feel like. And let's just study. Because actually when you actually want to study, your brain releases less amount of dopamine. I think your brain releases less amount of dopamine, which is also called the reward hormone. But actually when you are feeling bored, your brain actually tends to release higher amount of dopamine, which has actually been found. Your brain tends to release higher amount of dopamine just so that you actually do something. Because your brain is tired of being bored from morning till evening. Okay, why don't you just do something? And you notice that the only thing that you have to do, that's left for you to do, is to study. Now, one trust me, your brain will say, okay, let's just finally study. Now, so by the time you get bored, sometimes it really helps. Although it's not always helping because, especially if your phone is on, your brain will like, why don't you just play one Candy Crush? Why don't you just play one Call of Duty? Why don't you just play one this thing? And at the end of the day, you just take that in and you do it, and you won't actually it won't actually help you get it won't actually help you. So I don't really advise this for everyone, but I think it will actually work for me, and I think it will actually try to work for you. And I always tell people is be obsessed with the process. Now this is one of the reasons I think this is one of the things that I think everyone should actually have. Now you don't always have to expect results in every single thing you do. Now that's a true fact. You don't always have to expect results that okay, I'm starting this and I expect results in this. Now you always need to look at okay, what is this thing actually making me become? What is this thing actually making me become in the process? Now when I was actually studying, I would actually bring out some textbooks. I would actually bring out some questions rather, and I was like, okay, I want to solve 50 questions. Maybe on a particular topic, I want to solve 50 questions. Now after solving it, I could actually solve maybe just 10 or 5, and I would feel I come back the next week after studying for like 1 week, I could not still solve the whole 50. I'll feel okay. I come back the next third week and I couldn't solve that. Now I feel bad. But one thing you need to understand is you don't always have to expect results. You need to become to actually enjoy who you become in the process. Now those books, I actually look at it now. Those questions in those books, I couldn't actually solve up to 5 before. But later on, I noticed that I could solve 15, I could solve 20, and now I could solve the whole 50 questions. Now you need to enjoy the process. You don't always have to expect that by the time you're studying, I'm always going to see results. No, you need to enjoy who you become in the process. Now, if I, sometimes if I feel if I actually want to procrastinate, I feel like maybe I should not even study. This study is not even my thing. I always look at something look and look at it. Look at this question that I can actually solve now. Now, because I'm actually enjoying who I am becoming in the process. I'm not always wanting the process. I told you I wrote an exam 3 times. I wrote the first time, I wrote the second time, and I wrote the third time. Now I would have lose motivation. I would have started procrastinating from the second time. I would have started procrastinating from the first time. But no, I enjoyed who I was in the process. Now the questions which I couldn't solve in the first and second year. Now the questions are very easy for me to solve. So you need to enjoy who you are in the process. You need to enjoy what is this challenges making you become in the process. And once you're able to enjoy those things, trust me, you would actually really procrastinate. Guys, these are my tips on how I dealt with procrastination. Now, if you feel like you have some other reasons why you procrastinate, and I have not actually covered it in this video, you could actually write it down in the comments box, and I will get back to you on how I dealt with that particular problem. So, please, guys, subscribe, like my video, and share. So, see you guys again.